You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue, Thursday, December 5th, episode 253, and we have a ton of NFL to get to you like normal. Now, in the back half of the season, we experienced our first 2 foot of snow game in Buffalo, so it feels like football season at this point. And we have a lot to go over. The Steelers, impressing. Just some quick notes off the top of my head. The Eagles, still looking dominant. The Texans, I have my concerns with C.J. Stroud still. I mean, it's becoming a week in, week out type of thing. We'll get to all of it, I'm sure. We have a packed show, so we're going to start things off. Tim's rant on the Chicago Bears and Eberflus parting ways should be a good discussion. The last time, if you remember when Tim discussed Chicago, we had to...
I got fired up.
Yeah, I think that episode was the one that was taken down.
I think it was, because I think I swore. Sorry about that, but whatever.
So then we'll get into hits and misses to round out the first segment, and then in the second we will predict week 14, every pick for every game, and bring you the week 14 bets on a budget, which, by the way, 5-0 week on bets. We improved to 68% on the season. 68%.
That's absurd. 40, 19, and 1.
Yes, 40, 19, and 1 on bets.
Makes sense.
It's a great day over here, so make sure you stick around for the end to the end of the show for that. But guys, no matter how you're with us today, we appreciate it. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Amazon Prime Video, or Spotify, listening on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and of course the iHeartRadio app, we appreciate it. Thank you for being here, and this is The Issue.
This is almost, the rant's almost like a hit number 1 here. I've said it 7 times now. I remember when the season ended and they had the number 1 pick. It was clear they were going to draft Caleb Williams. I liked Caleb Williams the year before. If he would have came out, I probably would have taken him first overall. I liked Caleb Williams as a prospect. I still think he's a very, very talented player. And I think a lot of people got to see that on Thanksgiving. Nobody really watches the Bears games, right? Like who outside of Chicago or the team that they're playing have a real vested interest in them? Or it's kind of like, for example, Arizona kind of gets buried in the 405 window. They're not usually the best game on in the 405 window, so most people aren't watching Red Zone, which, by the way, you should if you're not, but that's besides the point. This isn't a Red Zone ad. The Bears have been kind of buried in the 1 o'clock window, right? Nobody really watches Chicago outside of Chicago. And so a lot of people were looking at the stats and kind of the videos surfacing online of DJ Moore running out of bounds, for example, and were, they had opinions on Caleb and his play, and rightfully so. It wasn't very good. But there's no doubt about it. People were saying, oh, he's not that talented, he's not that good, should have never been a number 1 pick. No. Don't kid yourself. Caleb Williams is an unbelievable talent, an unbelievable prospect. We can discuss his ability to see the field and his ability to run an offense. Sure, that will develop over time, but the kid's super talented, and I think everybody saw that. What they also saw was what every Bears fan and Bears fanatic or sports fanatic has been seeing now for some time, is that Matt Eberflus is not physically capable of running this football team. Right? So I said it going into the year when they were able to get the number 1 pick, we should move off, we being the Bears, should move off Matt Eberflus, go get a young progressive offensive coach, go get a guy with a track record of developing a young quarterback. Instead, we'll take the losing defensive coach who, at that point in his career, had never won a road game on Sunday. Hint, they kind of play the majority of the games on Sunday in the NFL, so maybe we should figure that out if we're the Bears. They, of course, didn't. Then they go hire an offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, who, whenever Seattle got rid of him, do we remember Jackson Smith and Jigba, the wide receiver, said, wait, is this live? Yeah, he was fine, yeah. We all know that he was not a very good coordinator in Seattle post that 1 year with Geno Smith where he kind of resurrected the career. Other than that, players rejoiced when he left. You think he would have known that, right? You think he would have just called John Schneider, called some of the leaders in that clubhouse in this Seattle team, and they would have told you that. DK would have told you. Jackson Smith and Jigba would have told you. Nope. Instead, you hire him. Of course, he doesn't even make it to the end of the season. As predicted, he gets fired. So instead of your ability, you could have cleaned house, got a new offensive coach, you could have paid for a Harbaugh, right? He played in He played in Chicago. You could have paid for Harbaugh. You could have paid for a Cliff Kingsbury. Vrabel was on the market. Belichick was on the market. I'm not saying that they're young, progressive offensive coordinators, but they're proven NFL coaches that can win at the NFL level. Instead, again, you take a losing defensive head coach to develop a young quarterback. So this was predictable from the very beginning. Right? There's a saying that usually when you're raising kids, obviously I don't have kids, but people use in the NFL as well, the days and weeks can get crazy, and they can be long days, right? I.e., being they're crazy, chaotic, long days. But the years are kind of short, right? You can kind of predict the years, right? Because you're probably thinking, well, we're already predicting for week 14. It's absurd. Already predicting for week 14, the years are short, and the years are predictable. This was predictable day one as soon as they drafted Caleb Williams and didn't move off Matt Eberflus. You knew that this was the outcome. This was the obvious course of action. And if you would have just paid attention to recent history, of course it was going to happen. It happened with Mitch Trubisky and John Fox. It happened with Justin Fields and Matt Nagy. You knew this was going to happen. This was a no-brainer. Chicago's going to mess it up. And to be honest with you, I remember coming out and saying it. I don't like how Caleb is kind of saying like he doesn't. There were stories out there. Does he want to go to Chicago, right? Do you remember those stories? Does he want to go to Chicago? Should he go to Chicago? Should he try to force his way out of going there? And everybody, including myself, said, hey, young buck, slow down. You haven't done anything in the league yet. Let's maybe pump the brakes. Was he right? Right? Like, did he have a point? Hey, did Caleb pay more attention to history, the history of the NFL and the history of the franchise, than any of us did? Because he must have looked at the history and said, hasn't had a good quarterback basically ever. They haven't had a franchise quarterback ever. In fact, he broke the rookie touchdown passing record with it was 14 touchdowns. 1942 was when that record was from. I didn't even know they threw the ball in 1942. I mean, give me a break. 1942. I mean, for those world history buffs, the end of World War II was 1942. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
45.
Oh, 45. The beginning of, in the middle, the World War II is going on. The last time the Bears rookie quarterback has thrown for more than 14 touchdown passes. Are we kidding right now? Are we kidding? So Caleb clearly looked at this organization and said, "Eesh, don't know." Of course, he ends up walking that back, saying, "Oh, we'll play for him. Go Chicago, go Bears, whatever." He's been a complete franchise guy. He's been a complete professional since being there. I think he was right, and I called it, and a lot of other people called it. I know I was high on the Bears, but let's be real. This was very predictable. I said they should have fired him as soon as you got the number one pick. I said you should have fired him 2 weeks before the season. I said you should have fired him earlier. And, of course, now, post-Week 13, the Chicago Bears have fired head coach Matt Eberflus. They will be looking for a head coach. It's upsetting for a young quarterback, but it's the world we live in. It's the bed that Chicago has made, and now they have to lay in it.
Yeah, it's just not an organization that produces success. I was going to say...
Not on the offensive side, that's for sure.
Consistently produces success. They don't even... They hardly... You never see rookies flourish coming out of there, and it's a real problem. Like, look at the Steelers. It's a team where, yeah, they've been down for the last decade, but because of how they draft, how they develop their guys, coming up through the system, and then you get 4th, 5th, 6th rounders that look and play like second rounders.
Can we talk for a second? I didn't even talk about one of the things that probably got him fired. How you take a sack with 32 seconds left and get one more play out of it, and then, did you hear him at the podium after?
No.
Quote, "I thought we handled it the right way." First of all, after that clock management, I wouldn't have let him get off the field with the job. I would not have let him walk to the podium still being the head coach of the Bears. After that head coaching job. Yeah. After that clock management. And I sure as hell wouldn't have let him walk off the stage. I would have fired him in front of the reporters for saying, quote, "I think we handled it the right way." Matt, hint, you lost the game. Shut up. You're not supposed to say that, right? Like, you lost. Clearly you didn't handle it well. You lost. Doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever.
No. They never surprise me. The Chicago Bears, they will always Bears, just like the Browns. Anyway,
Absolutely.
Guys, we have hits and misses to get to. Let's hop right into it.
All right, hit number 1 here, which I feel like we could have 6 hits. But I'm just, I don't want to brag here, so we'll do the normal 3 and 3. But number 1, I said that like after week 4, the problem with the Jets isn't that they lacked energy, or that it isn't, we need more continuity with the playbook. It's not, hey, we need to try harder in the first half. The problem with the Jets is the problem that every other bad team has is that they're bad at football, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem. Like it's not an ethereal problem. It's not an abstract problem. It's that when you step between the white lines, they're not good at football. Aaron's not a good quarterback anymore. Devontae Adams is good, but he's not a franchise-saving player like he was in Green Bay. He wasn't a franchise-altering player. He's not that anymore. The offensive line is perpetually injured and underwhelming, and the defense has regressed badly since you fired the best coach on your staff, Robert Saleh. I'm not saying he's amazing, but he's by far, bar none, the best coach that was on that staff. Yeah. When you fire him, the entire team gets worse, and the defense gets worse. They're, 1-6 since he left, or I guess was fired, so they have the same problem that all bad teams do. Poor ownership, poor general management, poor coaching, and they're not good at football. Period. End of story.
Is there a fix for it?
I was just about to ask.
What do you do?
I don't know what you do. I think for starters, don't bring Aaron back next year. Don't bring him back. They're going to have a new GM. Let the new GM go draft a guy. I mean, they're 3-9. They're going to be in the top 5.
In my opinion, too, you have to take a top-down approach. You have to look at ownership. You have to look at GM. Like, you have to look at
you can't look at ownership. But, I mean, they should look themselves in the mirror, but there's nothing you can really do unless they change it
There
themselves.
really is no check on that power, I guess.
But, I guess the front office needs to.
But, like, there needs to be major shakeup amongst the executives, whoever it is in New York, because it has been abysmal.
I couldn't agree more here. Miss number 1 here. Somebody that I have touted, I've backed, I've supported, despite him not being the most popular player, is Kirk Cousins. I thought consistently he gives you, almost every year, he's going to give you 4,500 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 picks, so to get a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, passer rating approaching, if not a little bit over 100. He's going to complete 66 to 68% of his throws. That's very good. Those are very good. Those are big boy numbers. He's going to win mostly on Sunday. He's not going to win you a ton of primetime games. He's going to win you a ton of games, be productive, total grown up in the locker room. He is all of those things minus the productive right now. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass in the last 3 games. They have lost 3 straight. The division's now in question. They're tied with the Bucs at 6-6. There's some chatter. I don't know how credible it is. Do you think it's possible they bench him at some point for Michael Penix this season?
Maybe to see what you got. You know, like, just to take it, like, if you know you're going to be out of the playoffs, if you know the season's over for you, like, you're not going to progress, I mean, go ahead and see what you have.
Yeah.
You know what Kirk is. You've seen him for how many years? Like, you know he's a very talented veteran. This is not like him to be playing this poorly. So just sit him for a little bit, see what you have. There's no harm in doing that. Like, it's not like Kirk's going to... I don't think he would be, like, offended by that either.
I mean, he may be upset, but at the end of the day, hey, it's a business. Like, Kirk, you're right. Kirk's not going to make noise about it. He may be upset privately. I don't think he's going to make a ton of noise about
Exactly,
it.
because even if he leaves, somebody else will sign him.
Sure.
He will find a job somewhere.
Oh, yeah. It could be like a Russell Wilson and Denver thing. They parted ways. I think both are better off today.
Yes.
But I think the one reason I would want to start Penix is if I am both Minnesota and Atlanta, I guess I'm a little scared right now because we know statistically, like 40% of first-round quarterbacks hit. Bo Nix is a hit. Mm-hmm. Caleb's probably a hit the talent is a hit. We just need some sort of semblance of good general management and good coaching. And Jaden Daniels is a clear hit. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, statistically,
he's supposed to
Statistically, Penix is supposed to be a bust. Yeah. So, like, I kind of want to see what I have, right? Like,
exactly. You have to see what you have.
Right. Hit number 2 here. I said it from the very beginning. I said it last year. Whenever there was chatter about Brock Purdy being the MVP of the league, I said, who's not even the most valuable player in his own backfield? Not the most valuable player on his own offense.
Nope.
Who's not the most valuable player in the league. And I think we're seeing it now. And I'm not saying Brock is at fault for these losses, but I'm saying it's evident that when there's injuries, when the offensive line isn't great, when you have to go on the road against a good team in inclement weather, Brock is not good enough to overcome a lot of things. He can overcome maybe an injury here, a turnover, a fumble there, or some weather here. Over the course of a season, over the course of a career, Brock Purdy's not good enough to overcome. Ayuk is out. Debo's not playing well. Kittle's been in and out of the lineup. Trent Williams is out. C-Mac was out for a while, comes back. Now he's out. Their backup running back's out. The defense is underperforming. They have injuries. Lenore's out. Hufunga's out. Kyle Shanahan has had, objectively one of his worst seasons as a head coach.
And being outcoached.
He's been outcoached a number of times. Brock isn't good enough to overcome that laundry list of issues with the Niners.
No, and we've always said that Brock is the guy that can perform when he has everything around him. When the system is built and the car is running perfectly, can he drive it? For sure. But the problems arise when, things start happening. Maybe you get a loose wheel, you get a flat tire.
Yeah.
Can you fix it and can you overcome it? No.
Brock can charge the AC unit. He can go to Ace and get, or whatever, Advanced Auto and get one of those AC chargers.
He can fill the window washing fluid, but that's about it.
He's not going to change your complete new set of tires, right?
No.
All right, miss number 2 here. I said it the past couple weeks. I said it about 2 months ago when we had Key and Crop on. I said, I don't think Anthony Richardson's very good. I think at this league you have to be able to complete at least 61 to 62% of your throws. And I need some sort of consistency from the pocket. I didn't see it from Anthony Richardson. Since being benched, though, I'll give him credit. I know the Patriots aren't world beaters, but they have some semblance of a defense. He's looked really good the past 3 weeks since coming back. He's 2-1. He looks more poised. He looks more consistent from the pocket. I feel like he's taking less hits. He's still taking more than I'd like. I feel like I'm getting I'm seeing progress, and that's all we've been asking for Anthony. We knew he was going to be raw. We knew he started, 10, 13 games in college. We knew that going in. We didn't expect perfection. We just needed growth, and we weren't seeing it for the longest time.
And I think part of the problem was the amount of Josh Allen comparisons and comparisons to quarterbacks that are worlds and worlds above the league that he's playing in right now.
Yeah, they're just not in the same class as him right now.
No, I think those projections and hearing that kind of skew your opinion to be like, okay, yeah, no, he's not that, so then you start to think he's horrible. I think he's starting to get back to the mean. He took a lot of risks. He threw a lot of 50-50 balls. Like, he put himself in a bad position a lot of the times. I think he's starting to kind of learn when to take those risks, calculated risks.
Yeah, I agree. Hit number 3 here. We didn't talk about this specific game, but in general, I've talked a lot about Michigan and Ohio State and the differences of the programs. Yep. I'm not necessarily a Michigan fan, but I was a Harbaugh fan. I like the way he does things, and he's a good coach, a genuine guy in a sport full of Ponzi scheme artists that are trying to sell you on their program. I thought Jim was a very real, down-to-earth guy.
Yep.
And I said, though, from the very beginning, Day was born on third base. That whole saying, born on third base. Look at him versus any winning team.
Not good.
Or against any let's go top 25 team. He underwhelms.
Yeah.
He underwhelms. The top couple teams they played this year, even not the top couple, right? Michigan's not even that good. Lose to them. Oregon, lose to them. It's like, at some point, something has to give. How do they get over the hump? Do you think they get over the hump?
I think it's Ohio State. Yes, they can. I think there has to be some serious change, though, when it comes to the schemes, because he just got flat out outcoached against Michigan.
The past 4 times they've lost now 4 straight. He's been outcoached all 4 times.
It's becoming a real problem. You have to take an introspective look here. You have to look into these top guys from the program and really start to dissect what they're all about, because they're going to continue to lose to Michigan if they keep this up.
I think there's some truth to the fact that while everybody zigs, as in goes for wide receivers, quarterbacks, high-flying positions, Michigan zags and goes for, they threw for 62 yards on Saturday. Like, we can barely throw the ball forward, but we're just going to run the rock down your throat,
and
right? So it's like, and who is at the forefront of this wide receiver dynamic craze? Ohio State. So it's just a bad matchup.
Yep.
Miss number 3 here, and we'll keep it quick. Jacksonville, they were my team. Trevor was my guy. That was a rough loss, not only for, in the game, but with Trevor, his head injury. Hopefully he's okay. It's just been a disastrous season. Quickly, 30 seconds. Does Doug Peterson keep his job going into 2025?
I mean, I don't think there's a way that you can. When you have one of the most talented quarterbacks in your hands and you can't do anything with them. What is it, 2 years now that we've seen just lack of production, lack of anything? There's no spark. There's nothing that leads me to believe that this team is headed in the right direction. I think the only good thing you have on your team is Trevor, and I think, because we really haven't even seen him go to his full potential yet, I think you get a new coach, you totally blow everything up, everybody's on the market except the number 16, Trevor Lawrence, and you keep him there and you rebuild around him completely.
Couldn't agree more. Well said. That was hits and misses. Make sure you come back. We have week 14 predictions, week 14 bets on a budget hitting at what? 68%.
68%,
That's right,
12%
above sharp, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back in. First show in December. It's the issue. Right, first show? Yeah, right. Yeah.
December 5th.
I'm just making sure. I second-guess myself quite a bit. But, yes, first show in December. Hope you had a very good Thanksgiving. Looking forward to the Christmas season as we get into the Christmas season. First of all, before we continue, favorite Christmas movie?
Ooh, Christmas Vacation, National Lampoons.
Could not agree more. Number 2 would be Elf for me.
Yep.
I'm a generic guy. I don't care if they're basic answers.
I like that
Those are
one.
the best movies. Sorry, but whatever.
Home Alone is good. Only the original, though, not the 2.
Yeah, the 2's okay, but after that it just gets crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, the original is always the best. But if you missed the previous segment, go back and listen. We talked about the Bears obviously firing Matt Eberflus. We had hits and misses per usual. We're about to get into predictions, and then in about 8-9 minutes, we will have our bets on a budget for Week 14. We were 5-0 last week. Was 4-1 the week before. We are hitting at a 68% clip. If you're not listening, that's on you. Sorry, like if you're not thinking, all right, let's put all those bets in and make some money off these guys, then that's on you. We are giving you free money. Do something with it.
Yeah, if you're not listening, shame on you, but the more shame comes if you are listening and you still haven't placed one of our bets.
I'm not even saying to parlay it. Just play them all straight. If you put $5 on each of the spreads, we are winning every week. You will be in the positive. I'm not saying you will make the most money, but you will be in the positive.
Definitely be netting positive.
Not to mention, doesn't even go against on our actual resume, but I helped my uncle this over the weekend at Thanksgiving. He's like, hey, let's cook up some parlays, right?
Always a fun thing to do.
Cooked up 3. He's like, I usually do 3. I'll put 20 on each one. 2 of them hit. I'm sorry, put 10 on each one. 2 of them hit.
Okay.
10 for 70, 10 for 75.
Love to see it.
Studs.
Love to see it.
All right, anyway, let's go ahead and get into predictions. Oh, by the way, however you got here, YouTube, iHeart, etc., we appreciate you doing so. Like, comment, review, follow, download, etc. We appreciate you being here.
Love it. All right.
Sorry, I almost forgot to do that.
No, you're good. We have predictions to get to, though. Late season now. You're only down 3 weeks. We have 5 weeks of predictions left, so you have to win 3 of the 5 to at least tie. Or, no, you'd have to win 4 to tie.
I thought I'm down 3 weeks.
Yes.
So I need to win 3 to tie.
Yeah, but then if I would win if I would win the other week, that would then put you. I'm not sure how the math will work, but you need to win.
I need to win.
It's 8-5. We're getting to the end of the season. It is do or die time. Week 14 predictions. Every pick for every game. Here we go.
You're exactly right. I need to win 4. Thank you. Packers at the Lions tonight. I'm going to take the Lions. Part of me really, really does want to take the Packers. Feels like a letdown spot for the Lions coming off of they're both coming off Thanksgiving Day wins, but the Lions have just been so good for so long this year. It's one of those, like, do they have like one of those breakdown games? And if so, maybe not a full breakdown, but are they going to lose a game? Because in reality, do we really think they're going 16-1? I don't.
Probably not.
So, like, you would pick a divisional game, but for me, primetime at home, that place is always a hornet's nest at home in that dome. So I'm going to take Detroit. I think they break down at some point and lose a couple maybe divisional games here, maybe when they go to Lambeau or whatever. But for right now, I'll take the Lions.
I'm going Detroit as well. Better football team. I wouldn't say better coached, but I would say more passion, more momentum at this point in the season. I'm going Detroit.
That's fair. Falcons at the Vikings. I think the Vikings are a better team, and for the first time almost ever from a team that's quarterbacked by Kirk Cousins, I'm unsure of what I'm getting at quarterback, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins has always been, I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get good, not great quarterback play, good accuracy, not super athletic, going to give us a chance to win. I don't know if I'm getting that, which is the first time ever I'm saying that about Kirk, so I'll take the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings as well. It's not going to look too pretty for Kirk's first game against his former team.
That's fair. Saints traveling to New York to play the Giants. I'm actually going to take the Giants. Again, just like the Lions argument, I don't see the Giants going 2-15. They're going to have to win one of these games, so I'm taking a dome team going up to cold weather New York. Something has to give. Drew Lock's second time starting this year in the system. Does it get a little bit better? I think so. I'm going to call the upset here. Giants win at home.
I'm going New Orleans just because I like the talent the minimal talent that's there more than I like in New York.
I was just about to say they have more talent. I'm not going to dispute that. So, Panthers traveling to Philadelphia. If this was in Carolina, I'd give them more of a chance. But in Philly, cold weather, I'll go with the Eagles.
It's the freaking Philadelphia Eagles right now too. They are rolling. They are the first or second best team in the NFL.
I was just NFC, I think. I think I would go. I think the Bills and Lions are slightly better, but then I'd go Eagles.
Okay, so 3.
Yeah.
Top 3 team in the league.
Yeah. Jets at the Dolphins. Dolphins are a better team. I know what I'm getting at quarterback a little bit more, and it's not going to be cold because they're in Miami, so I'll take the Dolphins.
Absolutely. There's nothing like we were talking about earlier. There's nothing good going on with the Jets organization right now as a whole. This is a Miami Dolphins win all day.
Browns at the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1:00 on Sunday.
Steelers.
I'll take the Steelers. I think Tomlin, a divisional game. I worry a little bit as a big favorite. We'll talk about that in bets on a budget, but
After they lost to them too.
Right, I do think they win this football game. It feels like a very Boswell-centric game. It feels like an 18-15 type of game.
I would love that. I have them on my fantasy team. I'll take it all day.
Raiders at the Bucks. I think the Bucks win. The Raiders can't execute a snap correctly down the stretch.
Now they did almost beat the Chiefs, but I think that speaks more to the Chiefs being a little bit down. We'll talk about that coming up.
Honestly, spoiler, we probably should have taken Vegas at +7. We didn't. Spoiler alert, we didn't. Probably should have. It's one of those Atlanta things, though. I don't know if I can bet. I don't know if I can stomach betting Antonio Pierce and Aiden O'Connell.
Having to bank on that team.
Don't know if I can do it.
No.
Jags at the Titans. I'll take the Titans being at home. This is kind of a crap bowl. I think whatever the home team would win, so I'll take the Titans.
Yeah, Titans, mainly just because T-Law's out.
Yeah, McCorkle's starting.
If you have a real-life quarterback starting on the other sideline, I'd think about it. But they don't, so I'm taking the Titans.
And Mac Jones is very good. Seahawks at the Cardinals. I'm taking the Cardinals. I called Seattle upsetting them in Seattle a couple weeks ago. I'll take the Cardinals to return the favor at home.
Okay, and Kyler has been good this year.
Yeah,
like he's made plays. He's had explosive drives that have turned into points.
Yeah, and they've come off 2 tough losses. I feel like you're getting a highly motivated team.
And hell, it's week 14 and he's still healthy. So
it's true. That's true. And also, if they lose this game, the division kind of slips out of reach because Seattle's at number 1, a game ahead. So if they space out another game and they get another head-to-head, you're kind of done. And you're not going to get a wild card. You're probably not going to get a wild card because of how good the AFC North is. They're going to send 3 teams.
Right.
There's only 1 wild card spot up for grabs, and you have basically the Bucks, them, and that's about the Bucks and them.
We couldn't
and
have
the
been,
Rams.
A little sidebar here. In regards to the NFC West, we couldn't have been more wrong about that division this year. I think that's probably one of our biggest misses.
I think we have it flipped almost entirely, top to bottom. So, Bills at the Rams. I'm going to take the Bills. Better team.
Best team in football?
They're up there. And you know me. I've been buying every stock I could find on the Bills.
That is a hit that you've had all season. Even when I was talking shit on the Bills to start things off in week 1, you said, if you're selling your Bills stock, I'll buy it. You've been right so far.
I think there's an argument this is the best iteration of the Bills since Josh Allen's been in his prime.
I mean, they finally look like they're not just relying on him for every single snap of the game.
Yeah, they finally have a good run game, like a really consistent, good back.
Yep.
And there's not a diva wide receiver. The defense is good, even though there's not big names.
You don't need
they're playing better.
You don't need it. Mahomes proved that you don't need the big names.
Yeah, correct. Bears at the Niners, our second split here. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bears.
That's crazy.
Well, who's playing for the Trent Williams is out. Christian McCaffrey's out. Obviously, Brandon Ayuk's out for the year. George Kittle's been in and out of the lineup. Deebo Samuel's been underwhelming, had a fumble. Kyle Juszczyk fumbled. Is he okay?
But it's the Bears, man. It's the Bears and the Bears organization.
New head coach bump. It happens across the league. New head coach, the interim coach bump. I'm taking that to win in San Francisco.
Okay. I'm going to take San Francisco just because of the talent, the whole piece of Shanahan being better than whatever interim they have.
Fair enough.
I'll take that.
Chargers at the Chiefs. I'm going to go ahead and take the Chiefs. If it was in L.A., I think I would take the Chargers. Not even because of the crowd. What's the temperature going to be at 8:20 at kickoff in Arrowhead on December, whatever that would be?
Probably like 10 degrees.
Right. And I'm not saying the Chargers can't play in cold weather. It's a Jim Harbaugh team. It's a physical football team.
Yeah.
Obviously not the same players from Michigan, but the same philosophy.
Yeah.
I think it'll be competitive. I think it'll be close. I'm going to take the better quarterback. I love Herbert. I'm going to take the better quarterback and the more situationally great team, even though I love Harbaugh.
All right. I'm taking the Chargers. The Chiefs have been so close to disappointing. If they would have been on the wrong side of a coin flip 3 times this year, they would have their record would not be as good, and there would be serious discussions in the Chiefs building, the camp, locker room, everything around it. They're in trouble right now. They are going to lose easy games coming up. I think this is going to be the start of their fall. I'm predicting the Chargers here.
Stunning. All right, Bengals at the Cowboys. Bengals, despite having a worse record, are a better team.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right. Splits, I'm taking the Giants. You are taking the Saints. That's the upset there that I'm taking. And I guess the Bears over the Niners. You have the Niners. Another upset. I'll take the Chiefs. You're taking the Chargers. 3 splits. Got to have it this week for me.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, it is, like I said, do or die at this point for you.
Put up or shut up. Yeah, so got to have it. Got to have it.
Those are the Week 14 predictions, guys. Go check them out. You can find the video as a standalone video on YouTube. Go to theissuesports.com. We'll get you there. But now it is time for I think we've all been waiting for it. We were 5-0 last week. It's bets on a budget. We are 86% on the season.
No, 68%.
Yeah, oh my God.
That
I wish
would
we were
be
86%.
sick. My good.
68% on the season.
I would consider like one of those country artists that blow, like Bailey Zimmerman that blows up on TikTok. I would consider flying to Vegas and applying for jobs at being a professional bettor. If we were 86%.
Okay, that's fair. 68% on the season, well above the sharp line. Guys, bets on a budget. The 5 best lines from around the league that we could find for you this week. Let's go.
I think this week's a little bit of a hornet's nest. You got to go real deep diving on this, and we kind of did that last week, and it was our 5-0 week. So hopefully we can get some of that same magic. Let's start with that upset that I'm predicting in the Meadowlands. I think the Giants getting 5 is criminal against a New Orleans team that, yeah, they're fine. They're good. They're good. They consistently put up anywhere between 14 and 20 points. I think in what is going to be probably a bit of a sluggish game in cold weather, 5 is way too many points.
Yep.
I think you obviously like the Saints to win. I think you would even admit 5 is way too many points.
That is a ton of points
to give up against not a very good team, right? Neither of these are good teams, which means points are at a premium. When points are at a premium, anything over a field goal, I'm interested in.
Yep.
So I'm going to take the Giants. I think they win outright, but even if they lose, I think it's going to be close. Feels very, 20-17. I'll take the Giants to win by that margin, but either way, they get the cover.
I love that one.
Dolphins -6.5 versus the New York Football Jets. The Jets are reeling. The interim coach is getting legitimate questions about are they going to bench Aaron Rodgers. I don't like anything that's happening there, and he's just not a very accurate quarterback anymore. He missed Garrett Wilson in the corner of the end zone. Next play is a pick six. A couple plays later is a pick six. So I don't like what I'm getting in New York, and it feels like a get-right spot for Miami, right? They go to cold weather Green Bay on Thanksgiving, right? They get beat up a little bit. They finally come back home. They get a little extra rest. Because they played Thursday, the Jets played Sunday. They get some extra rest. They get warm. It feels like a classic, hey, we are still a dynamic offense. It feels very 35-21 type of game.
It's a really good spot to just kind of regain your footing, play a team that just really isn't up to par, and just beat the brakes off of them.
That's exactly what I'm predicting. Chicago +4 at San Francisco.
Now this one,
I'm going against our normal statistical analysis, if you will. I love -4s.
Yep.
Because to me, that's the lowest number that you're going to get when Vegas is telling you there's a clear side. I am predicting that Vegas got it wrong. We've only done this a couple times this year where we go against... Because I think if you're betting long-term like we do for a whole season, you have to have some sort of steady trend that you always go with, or else you're kind of just out in the wilderness. Mm-hmm. We don't do this often. I'm traveling out in the wilderness for a little bit. No map, no compass. Hopefully it works out. Chicago +4 at San Francisco. I like them to win outright. 4 is a lot of points. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to take Chicago to win outright, but I definitely like them to cover the +4.
Hey, it's a sketchy one, but we've been right on a lot of sketchy ones recently, and I feel like we know when to, especially you know when to zig when everybody else is zagging. I'm going to trust you on this one.
Hopefully that's right. And I also just don't think that the market is corrected for how bad San Francisco is playing.
Well, that's fair.
I still feel like they're getting too much credit for their name value, their cachet.
Much like the Chiefs right now.
Sure, much like the Chiefs. What they have done more so than what they are doing. So Cleveland +6.5 at Pittsburgh. Quite simple. Way too many points for a divisional AFC North game. Way too many points. We just saw Cleveland beat Pittsburgh. I'm not saying that's the most accurate stat to go off of. It's not a very, hey, they beat them then, so they're going to beat them now. Or they beat that team, and that team's going to play this. Not the most accurate way to go about things, but it's AFC North. Tomlin is a big favorite. Never really plays well. They tend to play down to their opponent. I think it's going to be close. I'll take Pittsburgh by a field goal. I already said it feels like an 18-15 type of game.
100% agree there.
Finally, in Nashville, at home, the Tennessee Titans -3.5 versus McCorkle and the Jags. I'm not betting on Mac Jones and Doug Peterson, who's probably going to get fired, and Mac Jones is a backup, if not a third-string quarterback in this league.
If he's lucky.
I'm taking Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't love Will Levis, but about once every 4 games, he gives you a game where you're like,
he can play football.
He's pretty damn good.
And plus, they have a pretty solid defense, too. Tennessee...
That's true. They have a legitimate defense. Now, granted, they got shredded last week, but that's besides the point.
That's off the mean.
I like a -3.5. Again, a number I don't normally like to take. I usually like the +3.5, but we'll take it here. Let's go with the Giants +5, Miami -6.5, Chicago +4, Cleveland +6.5, and Tennessee -3.5. 3 dogs, 2 favorites. Week 14 bets on a budget.
Love it. Guys, last week 5-0. If you're not betting with us, I don't know what you're doing. Go check it out, theissuesports.com. You can find those picks everywhere, pretty much that you get the show. So go check it out, go look at them, and go bet them if you are seriously interested in making any money. If not, no, that's fine. Lose out on it and pinch the pockets a little bit for Christmas and figure it out. But you can always bet and just hit something and let your boys here at The Issue help you out. So anyway, we will be back next week predicting Week 15, going over Week 14. We appreciate you being here, and that was The Issue.